Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Jones is here. Okay. And Mr. Dukes. Yep. This meeting has been noticed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. This commission acts in review and recommending capacity for designations and removal of historic properties in districts. The commission also reviews proposed National Register of Historic Places nominations. The commission has final decision-making authority on certificates of historic appropriateness. My name is English Hurto, and I'm the chair. To my right is Amy Gerard, Joseph Dukes, and Melanie Millar. To my left is Michael German, Pat Jones, and Brett Halverson. Also seated to my right is Assistant County Attorney Mark Bell, and to my left is Andrea White, Interim Director of Zoning and Planning. Thank you.
And our staff here today is Nikki Grimble, who is the Interim Deputy Director. We've got Emily Piggott and Monica Eustace, who will be presenting the cases today, and Stephanie Ondo.
I would like to remind you that in order to get a good recording of the meeting for the minutes, please speak loudly and clearly into your microphones. The next agenda item is the approval of the minutes from the October 15, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
A motion.
Second.
Thank you. Staff, would you please call roll?
Chair Hurto,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson,
Aye.
Commissioner German,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson. Oh, sorry, she's not yet here. Commissioner Gerard. Aye. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Millar.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. The next agenda item is HIST 0925000153, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you. So this request is for a rear addition to a previously approved single-family dwelling unit at TMS 614-00000165, also known as 1083 Gadsdenville Road, and it is a property within the 10-Mile Community Historic District. So as always, these two slides show all of the CHA applications received to date within the 10-Mile Community Historic District. The applicant describes they are proposing an addition of a new primary suite and redesigned screen porch. The new total heated area of the home is 3,041 square feet. The proposed addition is located in the rear of the original design home. The exterior materials of the addition match the original and are of lap siding, parged stucco foundation, and shingle roofs. The footprint of the home is now 2,095 square feet. The total building coverage is 2,588 square feet, or 19%. And there are no contributing resources on the subject property. So here is the location of the subject property when we're looking at the county as a whole. So here you can see the location of the subject parcel in relation to the entire historic district. I did want to note that the HPC voted to deny the plans for the single-family home and detached garage that were on the subject property. However, the original house and garage plans were approved via settlement with Charleston County. So here is a zoomed-in map, and you can see closer the subject property's location on Gadsdenville Road, surrounded by properties within the 10-Mile Community Historic District. The subject property is zoned Special Management S3 and contains a manufactured housing unit that straddles the property line. The future land use designation for this property is Urban Suburban Cultural Community Protection. All surrounding properties are also zoned S3 and contain either manufactured housing units or are undeveloped. The subject parcel is in the X flood zone. So here's an aerial view of the subject property. We did, the commission did approve one CHA application within 500 feet of the subject property, and it's on the neighboring parcel. And so here is that approved site plan and house. These are images of the subject property. And these are photos of the neighboring properties on Gadsden Mill Road. So this is the original site plan, again, approved via settlement. This is the proposed site plan that's under review today. You can see the rear addition at the back of the home. And here are those two site plans side by side for comparison. This is the proposed site plan overlaid on top of the aerial map. And these are the elevations that were approved for the house. And here are the elevations that are in front of you for review today. Again, please note that rear addition and configuration change. So staff response to criteria number 1 states the proposed rear addition would increase the depth of the home, making it even more deep than it is wide. This is something repeatedly stated by community members that is not compatible with the existing architecture of 10 Mile, which historically included bungalows, which are usually square in mass, and ranch-style homes that are much more sprawling along the street frontage. Additionally, the original home design, when the original home design was presented, this massing issue was discussed and found to be not compatible at that time. So no contributing resources have been designated within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Therefore, we have to use Section 21-5H3, Commission consideration, when we evaluate this application. So as previously stated, the home design, when it was first presented to the HPC, the same massing issue was discussed and found to be not compatible. And the proposed rear addition in front of the commission, the depth of the home, effectively increasing the incompatibility of the design, does not reflect a minimization or mitigation of negative impacts to the historic architectural character of the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Staff recommends the applicant explore alternative design concepts that would minimize any increases in the depth of the home. Therefore, based on the applicant's responses, staff does believe the applicable criteria have not been satisfied. Therefore, staff is recommending deferral to allow the applicant to explore alternative design options that would minimize any increases to the depth of the home. However, if the commission does vote to approve the application today, staff recommends the following conditions. 1, demolition or relocation of the existing manufactured housing unit, obtaining all necessary permits prior to the issuance of the zoning permit for the new construction. And 2, all major changes shall be processed pursuant to Section 21-5M, which is our section of the Historic Preservation Ordinance that discusses that. We did receive 7 comments in opposition today, no comments in support. And of course, we noticed as required. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily, for your comprehensive report. I would also like to note that Commissioner Johnson is here. We will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
We just have one speaker, Paul Setti.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Setti. I represent Grantham Homes, the applicant for the addition. We feel the addition is very much in sync with the surroundings and low profile to the building itself, and as such, it blends in very well and has no necessarily negative impacts on the historic value of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all. The case is now closed to public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making a motion, please cite how each of the specific approval criteria have or have not been met.
Just one question. I think I know what it means, but I'm looking at the red buffer zone. Is that the setback that's required by? Go back to slide. Yeah, it's
Absolutely. If you're referring,
those are the setbacks according to Charleston County zoning and planning guidelines.
that is correct, and accessory structures can be within that side setback.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Staff, could you give us a little more information about the, we have feedback coming up here.
Yeah.
Could you give us some feedback on the opposition?
Yes. Yes, and I apologize. He is working on the speaker situation. So the comments that we received were all along the lines of discussing the depth of the home versus the width of the street-facing width of the home. And that several of the comments said they didn't feel it was appropriate in the first instance, and they still stand by that.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we do defer this because of the fact that I'm hearing staff say that the two specific reasonings being the fact that we do have 7 opposition letters about the depth, and also I would be curious to know from the applicant or representation of that representative whether you are considering the 2 options that they recommended in order to move forward, which was the removal of the manufactured trailer, and also anything that comes after that.
Yeah, everything would be removed.
Okay.
Yes, the pre-manufactured home would be removed from the lot, permitted as required, for sure.
Do you have any thoughts on the fact that there is this movement about the fact that it's not what the community sees as being representative of the depth?
Well, I think the lot itself is long and narrow, and the house actually does the same thing. Because of the setbacks and the narrowness of the lot, any kind of construction basically promotes that type of geometry on the lot, if you would say, given the need for parking and room for the garage and things like that. We wanted to make the home more livable with a master suite on the bottom floor, which many people want today, and our owner wanted to have that as a livable area.
So in your mind, your expertise, there's no real maneuvering at this point to get what they want for this side.
No, if you look at it carefully, the setbacks just promote that addition to be in the back of the house. Otherwise, you have, there's no room otherwise. So,
You're working with a very long
yeah,
property. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. I've got an additional question. I just heard what the applicant said. I'm no architect, but I'm looking at the design. The red buffer zones are Charleston County zoning setbacks. And if I'm looking at this house, and I'm wondering why that addition cannot sit directly behind the house and not to the side. It appears to me, but looking at what I'm seeing, why that was not a consideration when it appears to would be well within the buffer requirements.
The house as it's drawn, if you look at the driveway at the upper right, you're coming into the lot from the front. The addition is directly on the back of the house. The argument is that there isn't any room to go on the side of the house, so we had to put it on the back, which makes it look longer and narrower.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for staff. When was the subject property subdivided into the current configuration of what exists now on this TMS number?
That was last year.
Okay. So the reason why the setbacks are the way they are is because the property lines were redrawn such that we have a narrow and long lot. Is that accurate?
At this point, this is what we're working with, yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks. Okay, so is there any more discussion from commission members?
Madam Chair, do I give reasoning for my deferral, or is it understood that we're going with what the staff recommendations were?
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, it's time for the vote.
On the motion to defer, Chair Hertel,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson,
Aye.
Commissioner German,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Millar.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
I have one question of statement to Mr. Setti. Mr. Setti, do you feel comfortable? I mean, obviously we have a deferral motion and it has been approved. Do you feel comfortable talking to staff and seeing if there is a way to make this?
Sure, I feel
With the community, have you actually spoken to some of the community members?
No, but I'm comfortable to do so.
I think that's something that we continue to promote, that we would, really would like, the applicants and people that are trying to, develop properties to speak to the community members, to get their mindset, their input. I mean, sometimes I know, you get to that impasse, but I think that it would be worth an effort if that's something that are there community members here today that would be willing to speak to this gentleman? Do we not have anyone from the community? I guess you could put them in contact. You could put him in contact.
We will.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is HIST 1025000155, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Monica, would you please present?
Yes. This certificate of historic appropriateness request is for the installation of an in-ground swimming pool at TMS 614-00-00-742, 1086 Capers View Court, a property within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Since the designation of the 10 Mile Community as the Charleston County Historic District, 38 applications for certificates of historic appropriateness have been received to date. The 10 Mile Community was recognized in the 2016 Charleston County Cultural Resources Survey update as a remnant freedmen community having significant social organization and settlement patterns. Recent applications include the designation of the 10 Mile Community as a historic district in June of 2022 and the approval of the overlook at Copahy Sound as part of a settlement with the county on October 24, 2023. Here's the location of the subject property when looking at the county as a whole. This map shows the property's location within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. This map shows the subject property's location off Capers View Court in the 10 Mile Community Historic District. There are no Historic Preservation Commission approved CHAs within 500 feet of the subject parcel. The applicant is proposing to install an in-ground swimming pool behind the existing home at 1086 Capers View Court. The pool will be 480 square feet with an 895 square foot travertine deck. The new total impervious surface coverage for the lot with the addition of the pool will be 26.6%. Note that the HOA for the overlook at Copahy Sound has previously approved this plan. The subject property is zoned Special Management S3 and is the site of a single-family dwelling unit. The future land use designation is Urban Suburban Cultural Community Protection. Surrounding properties to the north, east, west, and south are also zoned S3 and contain either single-family dwelling units or are undeveloped. The subject property is in the AE12 flood zone. Here is an aerial view of the subject property. And this is a photo of the subject property off Capersview Court. These are photos of the surrounding properties at 1091 and 1082 Capersview Court. This is the proposed site plan showing the placement of the in-ground pool in the rear of the existing single-family dwelling unit. This is the aerial map with the proposed site plan overlaid for context. The pool area is circled in blue. This is the proposed pool layout in the rear yard of 1086 Capersview Court. And these are the proposed pool renderings. Staff response to the first criteria is that swimming pools are an allowed use. There are several in-ground swimming pool examples in the 10 Mile Community Historic District, but none of them are near the subject lot. However, as the 10 Mile community is known for its outdoor leisure spaces, the request is consistent with the character of the historic district. Staff response to the second criteria is Section 21-5H3, Commission consideration, shall be used to evaluate this application because the 10 Mile Community Historic District does not have any recognized contributing resources. The plan appears to have no impact on any of the community's notable features that were part of the County Council classification. The planned pool will have little effect on the current streetscape. Staff response to the third criteria is that no negative impacts to the 10 Mile Community Historic District have been identified. Therefore, this criterion has been met. Based on the applicant's responses, we believe the application meets the approval criteria. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following condition: that all major changes shall be processed pursuant to Section 21-5M, modifications to approve certificates of historic appropriateness of the Historic Preservation Ordinance. 7 comments in opposition and no comments in support were received. And this meeting was noticed as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica, for your comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members? Okay, if there are no questions, we will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
We have one speaker, Matthew Nesbitt.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Matthew Nisbet. I am the applicant and resident at 1086 Capersview Court, and I'm here to request approval of the application. I have a lot of respect for the community and its history. I'm a resident there. I live there, and so I do care deeply about this community. As Monica mentioned, a pool is a permitted use allowed by zoning, and I think importantly, it won't be visible even from just the cul-de-sac in front of my house. So it's not visible from the right-of-way. And with that said, I just respectfully ask for approval. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is that it? Okay. The case is now closed.
I have a question for him. Can I ask?
Just a second. Okay. The case is now closed for public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and second from the commission?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
And just for the record, I believe that because the pool is not visible from the right-of-way, that there are no negative impacts to the community. I would adopt the staff's observations as well as the applicants regarding the fact that it will have no impact on the streetscape, and it passes the requirements of the commission considerations under 21-5H3, which specifically state that the consideration is for that it should be similar in aspects to the community. This community has pools. It's not going to negatively impact any of the surrounding areas. So for those reasons, I'd move to approve.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
Second.
Ms. Johnson?
Oh, I wanted to ask the applicant, since he said he lives in the community,
Yes.
and we have 7 opposition letters, and you have been in touch with the community organization as you proceeded with this?
Not specifically regarding this, but we do, I mean, my wife and I, all the time, we talk with community members. We just haven't brought this up in particular. But we do have conversations, and, you know, as we walk the community and have met a lot of our neighbors.
So you had no idea about the opposition to this time?
No, I did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
And, Monica, can you expand on the opposition?
Yes. The opposition comments were concerning flooding, that they felt that it was out of character with the historic district, and the observance that the size of the pool with the decking was wider than the home.
Did I understand correctly that the HOA, POA has already approved?
For the subdivision, right.
Pardon me?
The HOA for the subdivision. Right.
I think that's relevant in this case, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, so if there's no further discussion, it's time for the vote.
On the motion to approve, Chair Hurteau,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson,
Aye.
Commissioner German, Commissioner Johnson,
Considering that the HOA is in agreement, I guess I'll have to go along with this. So I vote aye.
Commissioner Gerard, Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Millar.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is HIST 0925000154, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Emily, would you like to discuss?
Yes, thank you very much. So this request is for the construction of a new single-family dwelling unit with attached garage at TMS 583-00000016, also known as 1594 Joe Rouse Road, and it's a property within the Phillips Community Historic District. The application does also include the retroactive request for the placement of 2 accessory structures or sheds that are currently on the property. So these slides show all of the CHA applications received to date within Phillips. And this is the location of the subject property, looking at the county overall. And here's the location of the subject property along Highway 41 when we're looking at the entire Phillips Community Historic District. And then here is a zoomed in photo. You can see the subject property is surrounded entirely by properties also within the historic district. And it's located as a flag lot off of Highway 41. So this map shows the location of CHAs approved by the commission within 500 feet. So those are all shown in blue. Starting with the Phillips Community Drainage Improvement Project, which spanned many properties nearby. The commission also approved a deck for an existing mobile home retroactively. Also, most recently, a gravel parking lot and signage was approved for an existing church building off of Bennett Charles. So, and then this map shows the nearby identified contributing resources. So you can see there are none on the subject property, but there are several within 500 feet of the property. So the applicant describes that the proposed home is 2,835 square feet. It will be a dark gray color with white trim, black shutters, and a front door. The home will be 2 stories in a traditional style with an attached garage. Impervious surface coverage is 12.9%. The home will be clad in vinyl and have an architectural shingle roof. As previously stated, there are no identified contributing resources on this subject property. And there are 2 existing sheds that are included as part of the permitting for this application. And they did receive approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals for one of those existing sheds because it does encroach into the side setback. So the subject property is zoned S3, and it contains those 2 accessory structures. The future land use designation is urban, suburban, cultural community protection. All surrounding properties, except for one, are also zoned S3 and contain either single-family dwelling units, mobile homes, or are undeveloped. One property to the southwest is zoned planned development, and it will eventually feature a pocket park where residents can view the Rutledge Tomb. The subject parcel is in the AE8 and shaded X flood zones. So here's an aerial view of the subject property. And these are images of the subject property when looking from Highway 41 and then off of Joe Rouse. And these are photos of the neighboring properties. So here's the proposed site plan that shows the single-family dwelling as well as the 2 existing accessory structures. The property owner has obtained an easement over their neighbor's property for use for access off of Joe Rouse Road. So that's what you're seeing on the right-hand side. I also wanted to note that they did get approval for the removal of 1 grand tree for the placement of this home from the Board of Zoning Appeals. So here is that site plan overlaid on the aerial map and proposed front elevation. The right elevation, please note that the applicant is requesting that side garage option, the left elevation, and the rear elevation. In response to approval criterion 1, staff states the proposed design is compatible in mass, scale, and design with homes within the Phillips community that have been developed over the past 20 years. The chosen location of the home on the lot is consistent with the setbacks of existing neighboring homes. Additionally, the existing accessory structures and their irregular placement, encroaching on property lines, are representative of many existing small agricultural storage buildings that are found within the Phillips community, and it demonstrates the area's longtime ties to farming. The subject property does not contain any identified contributing resources, with the closest being about 300 feet away and separated by several other residentially developed properties. Therefore, the proposed design of this single-family dwelling and attached garage does not decrease the historic integrity of any parcels containing identified contributing resources. And no negative impacts have been identified. And based on that, staff is recommending approval with the following condition. Any changes shall be processed pursuant to the regulations set forth in Section 21-5M of our Historic Preservation Ordinance. We didn't receive any public input prior to this meeting, and of course, we noticed as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for your comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members? Questions? Okay. So we will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
Okay, we have 3 speakers. Joe Birdwin.
Good afternoon. Hi. I am the applicant requesting approval for this dwelling. Just want to give backstory, I guess. I grew up in the neighborhood. My parents live adjacent to the property. I just wanted to move back home, and so that's why I'm requesting approval.
Could you give us your name and address?
Fred Lamar Rouse, 1594 Joe Rouse Road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a Joe, and I can't quite read the handwriting, Birdwin, here to speak? Nope. And Callie Robertson? Nope. Okay. Those are all the speakers. Okay.
I have a question for the applicant, if that's okay.
Sure.
Sir, I think it's awesome that you're coming back home. That's fabulous, and then you're wanting to build next to your family. Is there a reason why the garage needs to be, in your opinion, put on the side of the home as opposed to like traditional?
Because of the little section in the front where the Rutledge Tomb is, I requested for the garage to be on this side just to be more accessible.
Okay. And it's, as far as the entry and all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
Okay. The case is now closed to public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making a motion, please cite how each of the specific approval criteria have or have not been met.
Make a motion that to be approved, and all three criteria have been met.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the commission members? Okay. If there is no further discussion, it is time for the vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurtel,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson,
Aye.
Commissioner German, Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard, aye. Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Millar.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. The next agenda item is HIST 102500156, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Emily, would you please discuss?
Yes, thank you very much. So this request is for the construction of a new single-family dwelling unit and attached garage at TMS 353-1200022, 2209 Weepalo Trail, and it's a property listed on the National Register of Historic Places. I'm realizing now that is incorrect, so please disregard, as this property is located along the Ashley River. So here you go. So this is a bit of an interesting one for folks that haven't seen it yet. So this property is part of the National Register listing for the lands that formerly encompassed the Ashley Hall Plantation. So everything you see here in the pink color has been part of that designation. The reason why there are portions that appear to be kind of carved out those are portions that have been annexed within the city of Charleston. So they're no longer subject to our regulations. So you can see here the property in blue is originally part of that Ashley Hall Plantation lands, although it is now within the Ashley Harbor neighborhood that has been developed over the past 40 years. So some quick facts about the Ashley Hall Plantation, and this is really just skimming the surface, but the plantation itself was established in 1670, which makes it one of the earliest settlements of Europeans along the Ashley River. William Bull Jr. signed a peace treaty with Attakullakulla on the site, which actually ended the Cherokee War of 1763. The plantation house itself was actually preventatively burned in 1865 to avoid destruction by the Union troops. The ruins do remain today. A significant Native American artifact concentration in the area indicates that this area actually might have been previously a Native American gathering space prior to it being settled by the Europeans. So the applicant describes that the proposed design consists of a two-story single-family residence with a total heated area of 2,925 square feet. The home follows a low-country cottage architectural style. The proposed impervious surface coverage is 27.8% of the parcel. The applicant states they will carefully monitor site activity, and notice will be given if any archaeological resources are discovered. The applicant also explains that none of the contributing resources are currently visible from this parcel, nor will they be visible at any elevation post-construction. So the subject property is zoned R4, and it's currently undeveloped. The future land use designation is urban-suburban mixed use. Surrounding properties to the northwest, northeast, and southwest are zoned the same and contain single-family dwelling units. Properties to the southeast are within the city of Charleston, zoned SR1, and contain single-family dwellings. The subject parcel is in the shaded X and X flood zones. So here is an aerial view of the property. And these are photos of the subject property. And these are photos of the neighboring homes. And here you can see the proposed site plan showing the single-family dwelling unit and attached garage. And here is that site plan overlaid on the aerial map. It's the proposed front elevation, the left elevation, right elevation, and the rear In response to criterion 1, staff states the lands that formerly encompass the Ashley Hall plantation have been subdivided off and developed for single-family residential development since the 1980s. The subject property does not contain any identified contributing resources. The historic, cultural, and/or architectural character of Ashley Hall plantation has largely been replaced with these residential subdivisions. Several historic structures and objects still exist about 900 feet from the subject property, separated again by existing residential development. Since the former plantation lands have been sold off for development already for over 40 years, at this point the proposed design is appropriate for the existing context in the area, which no longer contains much of its integrity. The subject property does not contain any known contributing resources, and again, the lands that formerly contained the plantation have been developed for residential uses, placing the subject parcel at present not contiguous to any properties that contain identified contributing resources. And the Ashley Hall plantation lands have been known to contain Native American artifacts, although none have been noted on the subject property. The National Register of Historic Places redacts specific location information about archaeologically significant resources. So therefore, the applicant has stated they will follow best practices if any archaeological items are discovered during the development of the site. No negative impacts to the notable extant features of the Ashley Hall plantation lands have been identified, and since the applicant has stated they will follow best practices if any of those archaeological artifacts are found, this criterion has been met. And based on all of that, staff is recommending approval, again, with the following conditions. So one is regarding those archaeological artifacts. If any artifacts are found on the property during development, the applicant shall notify Charleston County Zoning and Planning and the South Carolina State Department of Archives and History, and then any major changes shall be processed pursuant to our ordinance. We didn't receive any public input about this prior to today's meeting, and we did notice as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for your comprehensive report. We appreciate your report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members? We will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
All right. Zachary Aldridge.
Good afternoon. My name is Zachary Aldridge. I'm the operations manager for Homes by Dickerson and the applicant of this parcel. Thank you for your time this afternoon. There's 3 things that I would like to note with this application, one of which we have received approval by the Neighborhood Architectural Review Committee, which is comprised of neighborhood residents, all that live within the Ashley Harbor community. We have also received verbal approval from plan review, zoning, and site plan review from Charleston County for this parcel. And also, if we are able to go back to the site plan of this, this home, you'll notice that there are substantial trees in the front side if you're looking at the northeast side of the lot, that we have carefully located our building footprint to both avoid the cluster of trees at the front and then also the large historic tree along the curve of Weepolo Trail. So we've been very intentional with the site design, architecture, and layout of this property. And the county arborist, Kyle Foster, and I have been back and forth discussing options to try and mitigate the one tree that we are currently proposing to remove within the driveway, and are happy to accommodate any of his requests to do so. Lastly, thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's all for public comment. The case is now closed for public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making a motion, please cite how each of the specific approval criteria have or have not been met.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
And you need me to follow through on the, looking at the 3 criteria, I think that it does not, it meets all 3. It looks to me like this is the only lot left that's not been developed. My concern would be the architecture, the relics, that these, if there are any relics that are found, that obviously they would be, someone would take care of that. And That would be my biggest concern. I don't see any negative impacts on the actual area, and I think all the other criteria have been met.
Thank you. And we did have a second? Yes. Okay. Is there any discussion from the commission members? Okay. If there's no further discussion, it's time for the vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurteau,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson,
Aye.
Commissioner German,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard, Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Millard.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's vote. The next agenda item is HIST 1025000157, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Emily, would you please discuss?
All right, thanks. So this one is also for a new single-family dwelling unit, but this time it has a detached garage and dwelling space above at TMS 577-000020, 1415 Hamlin Road, and that is a property within the Hamlin Beach Community Historic District. So here are all of the CHA applications we've received since the Hamlin Beach community was designated in February this year. Just a reminder, the community was founded on what was previously plantation land sold through the South Carolina Land Commission to formerly enslaved individuals. And the Hamlin Beach community began in 1881 when land was subdivided into 30 10-acre lots. So here is the location of the property looking at the county overall. And here is the entire Hamlin Beach Historic District, and you can see the subject property on the left-hand side. Further zooming in, here is the subject property entirely surrounded by properties also within the Historic District off of Hamlin Road. There have been 2 CHA applications that the Commission has approved within 500 feet of this property. The first being a single-family home with attached garage at 1334 Hamlin Road. And the second being next door, another single-family home with attached garage at 1344 Hamlin Road. There is also one identified contributing resource within 500 feet, and that is the William Hamlin Cemetery. So the applicant describes that the proposed new single-family dwelling unit is proposing a new single-family dwelling unit and detached garage with 814 square feet of dwelling space above, and the proposed lot coverage is 8.1%. Subject property is zoned S3, and it currently contains a single-family dwelling unit for which the property owner has already obtained a demolition permit. The future land use designation is urban, suburban, cultural community protection. Surrounding properties to the northwest, west, and southwest are also zoned S3, and they either contain single-family homes or are undeveloped. The property to the northeast, across Hamlin Road, is zoned rural commercial and contains a satellite parking lot for a landscaping company. The subject parcel is in the shaded X flood zone. So here is the aerial view of the property. And these are site photos of the property and neighboring properties on Hamlin and Rifle Range. Here is the proposed site plan showing the single-family home with detached garage that has the living space above and then a gravel driveway. Towards the front of the lot, you see the existing single-family home that has already gotten a demolition permit. And here is that site plan overlaid on the aerial map. This is the proposed front elevation for the primary dwelling, and the left elevation, the right elevation, and the rear elevation. And here are the elevations for the garage with living quarters above. In response to criterion 1, Staff states that the applicant is proposing to construct a 3,184 square foot, two-story, single-family dwelling unit, along with an 814 square foot detached garage with living space above. The Hamlin Beach Community Historic District designation by County Council discusses traditional bungalow architecture along with metal roofs as being characteristic of the community. While the proposed design is not a bungalow, it does incorporate some stylistic elements of those notable historic homes, including a covered front porch, shutters, horizontal siding, and a standing seam metal roof. The closest identified contributing resource to the subject parcel is the William Hamlin Cemetery. That cemetery is not visible from the subject parcel, and alternatively, the proposed single-family dwelling unit and detached garage with living space above would also not be visible from the cemetery. And because of those conditions, the proposed site improvements do not decrease the historic integrity of any properties that contain identified contributing resources. And no negative impacts have been identified. Therefore, staff is recommending approval with the following condition. Any major changes shall be processed pursuant to Section 21-5M of our Historic Preservation Ordinance. We didn't receive any public input prior to today's meeting. This meeting was noticed as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for your comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members?
Does Hamlin Beach have a HOA community?
No.
They don't, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
Ted Parrott.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ted Parrott. We currently live at 478 Mount Royal, and I'm the applicant. My family is, my wife and I have 3 kids. We just had a 3rd baby 3 months ago, and we desired a property that we could allow them to thrive on and have a little more space to run around on, and we're blessed to be able to find this property. We're seeking to build a single-family home with a lot of garden space, and the appearance, I think, would be very historically appropriate, kind of the way that the land was designed to be used all along for gardens and animals and, just a lot of space for our kids to run free. So that's the design, and I appreciate your time, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. So the case is now closed to public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making a motion, please cite how each of the specific approval criteria have or have not been met. Anybody? Motion? I move to approve this based on all 3 criteria.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion from commission members?
Can you tell me again what the acreage is for this property?
Yes, absolutely. So it's 1.4 acres. Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion?
No.
No? Okay. If there is no further discussion, it's time for the vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurtel.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes.
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson.
Aye.
Commissioner German.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Millard.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's vote. The next agenda item is approval of the 2026 Historic Preservation Commission meeting schedule.
You'll have that on your iPads if you need to review. It is still the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So we hope that works for everyone.
Okay. So,
I'll move for approval of that.
can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Is that
Got a
it?
second?
Oh, any discussion?
None.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we can vote now.
Commissioner Hurtel?
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes?
Aye.
Commissioner Halverson?
Aye.
Commissioner German?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard? Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Millar?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. If there is no further business, this meeting of the Charleston County Historic Preservation Commission stands adjourned. The commission will hold its next regularly scheduled meeting on December 17, 2025 in council chambers.